These beautiful eggs are so easy to make. The process is so simple. My niece said to me the other day that she loved working on these because you don't have to be talented or even creative to make one of these, and they always really come out great. These are the dyes that I use. I get them from the Ukrainian gift shop. I use the gold, the pink, the red, the turquoise, the royal blue, and the black. These are some of the other supplies that you need. The beeswax tea lights that you can get in a supermarket. Matches, of course. Mason jar. I use mason jars to put the dyes in, and then you can actually save them. The tools, the Kitska, I think it's called. The red one is a thicker line, and the blue one makes a thinner line. And you put the wax inside of those. This is the wax. It's beeswax. And you heat those tools up over the candle. And these are the eggs, of course. And you do have to plug up your hole just so that the dye doesn't get in there. The way that you use these tools is this way. You break off a little piece of the wax and you put it into the top. And then you hold that over the beeswax tea light, and the wax melts, and then you can draw with it on your egg. Here is my first design that I'm doing. Now, I did not think up a design. I usually never do. I usually just start drawing and then just see what happens. Usually it works out pretty well. So anything that I am putting on right now, all of the designs that I'm putting on right now are going to stay white. Because the egg is white right now, anything I'm covering with a wax is going to stay white. It'll be white at the end. So I'm just making up a design, and I'm going to do a kind of a leaf shape that might look maybe like a flower petal. And I'm not even really being careful to make them all the same size. In fact, I realized when I finished that my first one was a lot smaller than my last one, but one of the great things about making these eggs is, honestly, they always look great in the end. So at first I was distressed when I saw how much smaller there it is. The first one is so much smaller than the last one I made, but it actually worked out great. They looked so pretty. Everything looked pretty at the end. Now, I like putting these little knobbies on. I call them little knobbies. I a lot of times I put these little dots onto the lines that I draw, and I just really like the way that they look. So I'm going to do them on the outside of all of the leaves. And here's the last one. And as I said, everything that I'm covering right now is going to stay white. So I'm going to make some veins in these leaves or flower petals, whatever you want to call them. And those will be white as well. Once I finish that, I dip it into the yellow dye first. Gold is the color I use, but it looks yellow to me. It's called gold. And I take it out with a paper towel and sort of dry it off. Now you have to mix your dyes ahead of time, the day before, or 2 days, whatever, but at least 24 hours before, because they have to cool, because you use hot water for it. So whatever I'm going to draw now is going to stay yellow. I find that the more wax I put on, in other words, at the end, when I'm finished with putting all the wax on, after I've dipped it into all the colors, the more wax that's on it, the better the result will be. So my egg usually ends up being totally covered with wax. So these lines I'm making now are going to stay yellow. And as I said before, I didn't think up a design. I'm just kind of winging it. So I'm making some more leaf or petal shapes, whatever you want to call them. And I was actually surprised how well this came out, because as I was working on it, I didn't really love the design that much. And I'm thickening up the lines now. I thought they should be a little bit thicker. But it ended up that I loved the egg at the end, and of course you'll see it at the end. So I'm putting some dots in. And as I said, the more detail and wax you put on it, the better it looks in the end. So these are all these lines that I'm doing now are going to stay yellow. I'm going to do a little flower here at the other end of the egg. Once I finish with that flower, I'm going to dip it into the pink. The pink is one of my favorite colors. It's really bright and beautiful. Here we go, into the pink. I always let it dry in between the colors, and you leave it in the dye for as long as you want until it's the saturation that you're happy with. So here it is, and there it is all dry. Now, I love the pink, so I know I want a lot of that to be showing. So I'm going to cover quite a bit of the design with wax because I really want a lot of it to be pink in the end. So I'm just putting some dots into these little leaf shapes. I actually was going to put the dots on after each color I dipped it in, but then I realized that I forgot to do it on some of the colors, so the dots didn't come out quite as well as I had hoped, but nobody knows except for me. So here I'm filling in all of these petals, the whole shape, with the pink, and I'm also going to do a little bit more here on the other end of the egg. I'm going to just outline all of these little petals with a pink. It's kind of fun to work on it because you really never know how it's going to look in the end. So this is going in the red now. This is the red dye, which is also another one of my favorite colors. And there it is. So I covered up all those top petals with a pink that had the pink on them. So those are going to stay pink. And whatever I cover up now is going to stay red. Now, I really love the pink and the red together. So I'm going to cover quite a bit of the egg now with wax because I love the red. So here I go. I'm going to just color in and also making those dots there inside of the petal shapes. So here's my design. I am going around the petals with the wax. And then once that's done, I'm going to dip that egg into the royal blue. So here's the royal blue. And whatever is not covered with wax turns blue, and it's just the top there and the petal shapes in the middle of the egg. Now I'm going to cover most of what's left, actually all of what's left, with wax. And the last color that I dip it in is black. I like dipping it in the black at the end. Here's the black, because whatever little spots did not get covered with wax will have a little black on it, and I love that look. Now next I have to put it on a tray covered with foil, and I'm going to put it into my oven on about 200 degrees. I'm putting it in the toaster oven for about 10 minutes, and here it is. I just took it out and the wax is all melted, and I'm rubbing off the remainder of the wax, and check out my egg. Do you love it? I love the way that came out. I was so happy with it. Here it is, my beautiful egg. I hope you will try this because it's so much fun.